Therefore, welcome back. This is now our third session since our second section got cut due to some internet issues. So I restarted the modem. Hopefully that will solve those little issues that were bumping me out of the room. Right, so we were back here and I was trying to illustrate the concept behind this dividend valuation model and how now we're going to use it going forward, right, for the rest of the question. So remember, without dividend growth, you simply take the dividend divided by the KE. So let me put this here in different colors. It's a different indication of exactly what we're doing. And the dividend over the KE effectively is taking a cash flow and dividing it by a rate R. So does that remind anybody of some discounting? Yes or no? What type of discounting is this? Something discounting. Excellent. So this is effectively a perpetuity discounting computation, right? So my other participants, Amar and Stacey, have you come across that concept of perpetuity discounting? I think I did a bit of that in the study school. Good. So further to this perpetuity discounting, the DVM model with growth now does perpetuity discounting with growth. So that just brings in the G values and we get now perpetuity discounting with growth. What we're going to do next is going to be another complication to that. We are now going to get into deferred perpetuity discounting. And we're still going to have growth. Right? So let's look back at those years which they describe for us, and we'll identify how we're doing this perpetuity discounting with growth. So this is the last line here. In the future years, from February 2019 onwards, then the dividends will be growing at this rate of 7%. All right. So if we could find the 2019 dividend, that value will be growing. But how many years is 2019 deferring from now? What is the current year? We were told somewhere. Today's date is 1st of March 2016. So we're currently in 2016. So how many years are we going to be doing this deferral? From 2016. Oh, I should write that further up. We're deferring from where we are now, from 2016 to 2017, then to 2018, and then to 2019, to the end of 2019. So 16 to 17, 17 to 18, 18 to 19. Is everybody okay with that? Yeah. So we have 3 years deferred growth. So the growth, or this dividend growth, that's going to grow by 7. When we do find that amount, we're going to have to discount that further back 3 more years, right? So let me see if I could outline this over here a little better so that you could identify our growth. So all of this work, this is some tough work. So the deferred perpetuity discounting with growth, we will have our years 2016, which is now, then 2017, then 2018, then 2019. So in 2019, we now have the perpetuity. With growth. So after we apply the DVM, it will only discount this cash flow back by 1 year. So in this case now, we will have to take this cash flow back 3 years to 2016. 1, 2, 3. Or 2016. It somehow looks like 2 there. And nope. It's got to be the 3 years. So 2019. Oh, I think I need to restart where I did this. So when we come back here, in the future years from 2019, so the end of February 2019 is still the old. The perpetuity didn't start yet. The perpetuity is starting from February 2019. It's the start of the year. So when is the year end for that final dividend, which is going to be growing in perpetuity? Come on. If February 2019 itself, oh, I need to select all of these things. My selection, okay, it's taking all of that. I don't want all of that to move, so I therefore have to save. Right, so I need to have 2020 in there. Very good, Amar. So I need everybody to see that. I need to now update what I did here because the perpetuity, the deferral is 3 years. So 2020 is when our deferred cash flow begins. So this, the dividend here, this dividend is now going to be perpetuity with growth. And what's that growth rate? They gave us to us as 7%, right? So here G is equal to 7%. But when we apply DVM, DVM will give us that value discounted back, and then this deferred perpetuity now will have to be discounted once more from here. I want to use this space to do other stuff. Let's see. This from here now, we'll have to take it and go all the way back. 1, 2, 3 periods back. All right, so after we apply DVM, we'll now discount it. Any idea as to what discount rate we can use? If this is, what type of cash flows are we discounting here? Should we use the WACC? Is this a weighted cash flow in terms of combination of equity and debt? What type of cash flow is this? That goes out to dividends. FCFE, and therefore this is the equity. So then discount here for 3 years using what we were given as the KE. Good? So that's one element. That's just the DVM part from the 2020 dividend. However, we have the other 3 lines, and that should give us the key indication for the other 3 lines. Once we could find this dividend, which we have here in 2019, we'll have to discount that by how many years? Three. So that 2019 dividend by itself will have to discount 3 years. So this one will also have to go back 3 years. And of course, 2018 has to go back 2 years. So 3 for that, 2 for this. And of course, 2017 dividend, when we find it, we'll have to discount it for 1 year. All right. That, folks, whoever could sit and figure that out in the exam, kudos to you. If your time is running out, by all means, make up something, put some sort of attempt of something that you figured out and move on, right? So the time element is the killer here. right, to sit and really figure this stuff out. So, I mean, really, really, I do not envy you guys on Friday, right? But there is a way to beat the exam. You do what you can to complete a question and move on. You do not get bogged down. Do not get stuck in a rut trying to say what to do with this part 3. If you figured it out, fine. If you're seeing all this working, put a statement it. And this is what I'm going to write now, the notation. So the value, did I have this up above? I given key in it. Right. Okay, no, I didn't. So I started up here. So I could put it out, you know. The value of the company after the investment will again be used on a per share basis by finding the value of a share using the DVM and present value of the other dividends given. The DVM model would only be used to find the 2019 value of the deferred perpetuity of the dividend stream from 2020 onwards. Right? So even just figuring that line that it was 2020 onwards, it gave you the information so messed up. They said from February 2019, but that's the beginning of the year. So it ends up being a 2020 dividend. So again, just describing this DVM value will thus need to be discounted for 3 years to get us a present value of the dividend stream to this. We will then add the present value of the intervening or of the other 3 years, which would be 2017. Well, I could count backwards since I started with 2020. 2019, 2018, and 2017. All right, so that's the description for what I was doing in the diagram above. So diagram form, description form, and time runs out on you. You figured it out, you wrote it on, you move on. Okay, so let's calculate it out since we are not in the exam right now. So let's begin. First bit, what we're looking at. Which one you want to do first? You want to start with the basic discounting or do the DVM first? You tell me. We're going to do all of it either ways. We actually have the data to do the DVM first. Which one you want to start with? DVM? All right, let's go. So 2020 perpetuity. Per PER, PER, PET. perpetuity, something like that. 2020 perpetuity is the 2019 dividend of 31 cents, 0.31. Yeah, straight from question. So let's punch that and punch it in DVM with a growth of 7%. Let's go. That P0 for which will now become a 2019 P0 would now be equal to our 31 cents D0, 0.31 times 1 plus G, 1.07, that's your growth, over R minus G. R was at 12%, so 0.12 minus 0.07. Right, so I'll probably just put back K equals 12%. Come on, somebody punch for me. What's the P0 2019? 6. Does my answer sheet have a separate number? No, no separate number for me. So I'll have to hope we have all the right numbers and we'll deal with it. P0 2019, 6.63. Now remember, these are cash flows, so it'll all be in dollars. That gonna fit there. It's sort of fitting. It's fitting fine enough. All right, 6.63. Or how do I do this? Discount factor and present value 2016. So that times discount factor at 12% is going to give us the 2016 present values for our dividend valuation. So what's our discount factor here? For 3 years at 12%, will be times it by 1.12 to the power of minus n. Or you could just say divide by 1.12 cubed. So to the power of minus 3. Everybody okay with basic discounting using 1 plus r to the n? So you either multiply with the powers being negative, or you simply divide by 1.12 to the power 3. Yeah? Make sure everybody's good. I don't need that to be superscript. Need that equal to come down to superscript. Good. What do we get? Discount is 6.63. 3 years at 12%. Or you could pull your discount factor from the tables at 12%. It's up to you. Either should get you a value. 4.72. And let's stick to the 2 decimals. 4.72. Good. So that's PO 2019 from the perpetuity. And that's that. So 2019 dividend, we know that was the 30 cents. There's nothing else we need to do with that apart from discount it. 31 cents. 0.31 and same discount factor, because that is also a 2019 cash flow. Everybody good? Discount that, give me a value. And our 10-minute warning is up again. Come on, discount my 31 cents. Point 22. Again, I don't have these individual answers. We'll see only when the final thing lines up. If we are right, which we should be, seems fairly straightforward. 2019 dividend, 2018 dividend now. We have to pause because we have to start with the 2017 dividend. Everybody okay at this stage? Back to the question. Let us see, what was our 2017 dividend? Because if I remember correctly, they told us 2017 and 18 dividend were the same. So let's find the answers. Taking all night to do this when we were supposed to be doing our mergers and acquisitions. Oh yeah. So, what did they say? To the end of 2017, the remaining cash flows after investment of the 40 will now be paid as dividends. So we have to find that remaining cash flows, and 2018 dividends paid will be the same amount as in 2017. So this is where the question mentioned we have to not just use dividend information provided, but we have to use B1 and B2. What is B1 and B2? The dividend capacity prior to investing in a large project, as well as the receipt that it is due to receive in 3 months' time from the sale of the equity investment. How pretty is those two going to come in? So this is the B1 and the B2, which we're being guided to use now. How is B1 and B2 going to help us find out our dividend? So dividend is again the amount of cash remaining after we pay off. So B1 gives us the dividend capacity before we invested. And what happens next? We are going to sell and get some receipts in euros, and we've converted it to dollars. We're going to get some cash in. So we're going to have our dividends, but we're not going to pay it out. We're going to collect some cash in. So dividend before, or I could say cash before. Let's work with cash because it's a cash going to be paid out as dividends, right? So we are working now, figuring out how the heck we're going to use this thing. We're going to say that we're going to start with the cash before the investment. We're going to add on receipts from the sales. Right, so that's part one and part two. We've used that and we've used that. And we have to subtract something. Come on, logically, tell me, what are we going to subtract? What are we going to subtract? Come on, think. If you can't find it, type no and I'll scoot up to the question. It's in the question. Well, it's in the data in the case. The case clearly told you what to subtract. All right, nobody's typing anything. Let me scroll up here, right there. The remaining cash flows after the invest are right there. After the investment. So what are we going to subtract? Come on. This line here is telling you what to subtract. What do we do to find the remaining cash flow? I've started you off by saying, starting with part one, the cash FCFE. We're going to add on what we collect from the extra sale. And we're going to subtract. Come on. You're making me think I'm in the room alone. We are going to subtract. Hello. Remaining cash flows Thank you, Amar. Everybody's seeing it now. You're going to pay for the 40 million of the project. So you have your FCFE, that's your cash. That's what the question told us. It's that remaining cash flows now, which will start off from our FCFE here, FCFE. Add on our receipts from part 2, and now minus the 40 million. And that will give us what cash flows we remain with. Right? Hopefully that's clear now. Let me write it back in notation form down here for our answer. Right, 2017 dividend. So the 2017 dividend, to use above, is found, we are told, as the remaining cash flows after paying for the investment. This will be obtained from FCFE, or in other words, dividend capacity, from part 1. Add the sales receipts, dollars, from part 2. What did we sell in part 2? Just throwing in descriptions from the case now. Part 2. Advise and hedge strategy for you should receive in 3 months' time from the sale of some equity investment. Right? Part 2, sale of equity investment, and deduct or less the cost of the new investment. So simply line that up. What was our FCFE? Anybody remembers? After we did all of that stuff last night, choosing a contract, with that contract, we came down here. Split over on the side here, I think. Right. So we did all of this dividend capacity, FCF income computation. All of that to find out $21.641. No, millions. Good. Everybody got it. 21.64. So that is simply 21.64. Everything here is in millions of dollars. Let me work that here. Millions dollars, millions. Oops. Dollars, millions, 21.64. Plus, what was our sale? Did we do that part with the sale? So part 1, part 2. Receipt. Oh yeah, that's part 2. So having sold, what would be the best item to identify that? So once we hedge it, 1.1249. Can't remember what was our outcome. Which price was the best price to buy at? Because we were